crushed in the start box, Gilmore would never recover. The race turned into a procession. Coots 1, Gilmore 0. Race 2, and Gilmore is fighting to find his true form.
Inside the final 30 seconds, Coots to windward, leading back into the start line. Gilmore trying to get underneath him, push and shove. That's Gilmore we're looking at now, trying to get underneath. Coots to push him up over the line. Gilmore out to the right, Coots out to the left. Coming up to the line. So there's the gun. And Coots has won that start down to leeward and ahead. Gilmore can't live there and immediately tacks off. So it's Gilmore out to the right, going back onto port. Coots holding on to starboard, going out to the left. Now Coots coming back into the centre of the course to make sure he's got Gilmore covered. Coots determined to protect the left-hand side of the course. That out towards the breakwater in the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. Here's the first cross. And Coots is in front. Coots on port, had to give way, but he was able to cross okay over Peter Gilmore, who was on starboard. Now the interesting thing is that Gilmore is coming right into the breakwater out off the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. There's less tide here along the breakwater, and this may let Gilmore back in the act. So Gilmore is coming out on port, and it's a safe leeward down to leeward and ahead of Coots. My word, Gilmore's really closed the game up here as Coots is trying to ride over the top. Here goes Gilmore luffing up. This is a defensive move from Gilmore down to leeward as he luffs up. Coots in the windward position. So Coots has had to tack off onto port. Gilmore now has got the advantage across the breakwater right here in the foreground. Gilmore going as close as he can to those rocks, but he's staying out of the tide. That's his big advantage. That's how he's able to come from behind. So Coots coming back in on starboard. He's got right of way. Gilmore on port's got to give way. So Coots and his crew say no way, and they reckon they've got Gilmore nailed. Well, something's got to give there. Blue flag. Peter Gilmore has been penalised. He was caught on port. He had to give way. And Coots and his crew knew that they had him nailed. We heard Simon Daubney yell out, no way. And so Russell Coots is behind, but he has the advantage knowing that Peter Gilmore has to undertake a penalty. Here goes Gilmore again on port. He's got to give away as he's tacking right in front of Coots. So they're yelling, that was Brad Butterworth. We're going to get him for another one. White flag from Brad Butterworth. As he's waving the white flag, they're going for another penalty. It's green flagged. So coming to the top mark for the first time, Peter Gilmore is in front, but he does have a penalty to undertake. Mark 1 and Peter Gilmore around the top mark. The tide roaring out, so they'll move away quickly from this mark under Spinnaker to try and extend their advantage over Russell Coots and still undertake their penalty. That's the key thing. Has Gilmore got enough distance between him and Coots to undertake the penalty? As Coots and co hoist their Spinnaker on the chase, leg 2. 17 seconds. Coots trails Gilmore. It's going to be interesting. The closing stages of leg number 4 and the finish. Peter Gilmore out to the left. Down comes the Spinnaker. They're going through their penalty turn. Meanwhile, out to the right, Russell Coots is closing down. Can Gilmore get there? Bringing the bow down. The tide is carrying them down, but Coots is getting closer. Here comes Coots into the picture. Gilmore out to the left. There's the gun, and Gilmore has beaten Coots by 1 second. It's Coots 1, Gilmore 1.
Race 3, and it's all tied up.
Coming down to 15 seconds, and Coots is leading back in the controlling position. It is Coots out to the left, Gilmore out to the right. They're back from the start line, though. The committee boat out to the left. As we're coming up to the gun, Coots in the controlling position to windward of Gilmore by a boat length and a bit. And immediately Gilmore's trying to wriggle clear. Moves back onto port. Doesn't like it, comes back onto starboard. Low-speed tacks, doing anything to get into clear air, and he's got it. Gilmore, the top skipper this year, has done very well, winning Nippon Cup in Japan last week. Last month, he beat Russell Coots in the final of the Bermuda Gold Cup as he comes off the breakwater wall, right in front of the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron in the background. So coming back out on port, Gilmore has to give way. Coots is coming in on starboard. Coots will have right of way. He tacks right on top of Gilmore's slam dunk. Protest from both boats, white flag. Simon Daubney says they've definitely hit it. Well, something's got to give here, surely. The on-water umpires will make a decision. Yellow penalty against Peter Gilmore.
Should be a red flag!
Simon Daubney yelling out it should have been a red flag, meaning that Peter Gilmore should undertake the penalty immediately. The on-water umpires did not agree. So Peter Gilmore has for the rest of the race to undertake the penalty when he sees fit. So Gilmore's coming in on starboard. Coots has to give way there. He was on port. So coming around this top mark, Gilmore in front, but he has a penalty to undertake at some stage during the rest of the race. Well, there's always high-octane action between Gilmore and Coots. As they head off under Spinnaker, the current roaring out of the Waitemata Harbour up to 2 knots. The key thing for Coots is to stay close and attack. Closing to the end of leg number 2. Down come the Spinnakers. Gilmore still in front, still has to undertake the penalty, but Coots and friends are very close. Right in a position to be able to attack. The breeze up to 12 to 14 knots, strong ebb tide, so the key thing is to get out across to the left-hand side towards the breakwater. Both boats going across. Coots bailing out of there, though. He can't live there, dummy tack. Coots out to the right, Gilmore to the left, not being sucked in by it. Now, Coots goes across onto port to build up speed. Gilmore trying to stay between his rival and the mark. Classic match racing. Mark 3, the end of the second beat to windward, going into the last leg. Gilmore in front by a couple of boat lengths. The tide roaring out. Coots' crew has got to get that Spinnaker up quickly. Get it setting and try and shadow the breeze that Gilmore's getting. Try and disrupt the airflow and start attacking. Coots to the right, Gilmore to the left. Last leg. Coots and his crew of Team Magic are closing down. They are closing on Gilmore. Gilmore still has the penalty to undertake, remember. Look at Gilmore's Spinnaker. It's losing the breeze. Here goes Coots attacking as he's trying to get up on the hip of Gilmore, making life difficult. Gone through the jibe, and Coots has got Gilmore. He sailed over the top of him. Magnificent attack by Team Magic. Now Coots is in the controlling position, closing to the finish. And the gun to Russell Coots, who beats Peter Gilmore. It is Coots 2, Gilmore 1, and Russell Coots is on match point now, win one more race, and he's through to the final of the Steinlager LINE7 for 97.
So as Gilmore completes his penalty, a place in the finals is slipping away. Race 4, and it's make or break time for Gilmore.
20 seconds to the start. It is Coots down to leeward, out to the left. He's getting underneath Gilmore now. Gilmore was a little early, and Coots is trying to force Gilmore up over the line. That was close. So coming up to the start, split tack start, and it's Coots on starboard heading out to the favoured left-hand side, out towards the wall. Gilmore on port, over towards the committee boat. Well, it's always been aggressive starts between Gilmore and Coots, and in this instance, Gilmore here is trailing Russell Coots. A couple of boat lengths behind off the start. closing to the finish of race 4, and Russell Coots out to the left has extended his lead right throughout the race. It's all plain sailing now. Russell Coots and his team Magic outstanding in the semi-final to beat the world champion. They're through to the final of the Steinlager LINE7.
So, Russell Coots, the first finalist to be decided, now for his opponent to face off between Д.Баркера and Gavin Brady.
Gavin Brady out to the left, living dangerously over the line. Д.Баркера brings Motorola back behind the line. Barker out to the left. So there's the gun, and Barker is now down to leeward. Here comes Brady trying to get behind the line. That's the voice of Joe Allen saying they've got no rights. Joe Allen sailing with Barker. It's Joe Allen saying it's marginal.
Come on! He's unbelievable! He's straight as out! Come on! Okay, that's it. Don't worry about it.
Jeremy Scantlebury out to the right there, sailing with Barker, trying to simmer the crew down, particularly Joey Allen. So the Barker crew is angry, particularly Joey Allen, but the end result is Gavin Brady out to the left, is leading by 2 boat lengths, and is clear. So now Barker and crew have got to try and wriggle clear of this. Coming to the first mark, Gavin Brady and his crew, all graduates of the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron's youth training scheme, have a commanding lead. It all goes back to that supercharged start. Brady got clear, no penalty. Certainly Barker's crew disagree with that, but it really doesn't matter what they think. The umpire said it was all clear, and that's the deficit they face. They'll find it difficult to come back from there.
A 27-second winning margin for Brady. Д.Баркера now out to make amends in race 2.
15 seconds, another aggressive start. Brady on Kodak. Well, Barker's crew are getting very aggressive. They reckon they've got one over Brady here.
He puts himself there every time.
That's Joe Allen. Let's have a look what the judges say, and it's gone against Brady. Yellow flag. Brady's copped the penalty, but he does come off the wall, and for his trouble, he still is in front. So coming to the first mark, and Gavin Brady is in front, and does have a comfortable lead. So from the high-octane start again, where there's a lot of exchange, Gavin Brady in front. Д.Баркера rounding 21 seconds behind. Now, the key issue is that a big enough lead for Brady to hold on and still undertake the penalty. Coming to the finish now, Gavin Brady in front.
How many lengths have we got on him? 3 lengths. Don't have enough, do we? More pressure to come to us.
That's the voice of Gavin Brady saying we don't have enough, do we? After asking the question of how many lengths do they have, one of the crew members replies 3, so they don't think they've got enough. So they're going through the penalty turn now. Down comes the spinnaker. Barker charging down, powered by the southwesterly of 10 to 12 knots. A strong ebb tide. They're closing down on Brady. Brady undertakes the turn. They're right on the finish line. Voices raised. Something touched. It's a penalty against Brady. And Barker has won it.
An aggrieved Gavin Brady, feeling hard done by after that, and he came roaring in for the pre-start of race 3.
The 4-minute round the ends hooter coming in from the starboard end or committee boat end is Д.Баркера aboard Kodak. Coming in from the pin end or port end of the line. It looks like another aggressive exchange. Gavin Brady said he altered course definitely.
And he definitely altered course. He came next to me.
Brady's crew reckons that Barker definitely bore away at them.
Okay.
And it's a penalty against Brady.
Okay. More away at us.
Brady talking to the onboard umpire on the stern of his boat. Rather sharp with his words, saying, look, Brady's giving instruction to the umpire, saying that Barker bore away at him. It doesn't matter. Brady has copped the penalty.
Ready, Rodney? Ready for attack, Rodney? I've got a handle.
Into the final 30 seconds. Brady down to leeward. Barker in the windward position. They're both desperate for the pin end of the line. Out towards the favoured left-hand side, over towards the wall. The tide is roaring out. This is the place to be. Only one boat can get it. There's the gun. Brady trailing. Fantastic precision. Here it goes. Smash!
I've got it. 2 penalties. Look at that.
So Brady brought the bow of his boat up and tapped the stern of Barker's boat. Surely that has to go against Barker. Windward boat, keep clear.
Look at this.
Brady struggling to get momentum and get going. There's a lot of advice to the umpires, but they've yellow flag. It's against Barker. And out comes the red flag, which means that Barker has to undertake the penalty immediately. Because the judges have ruled that there would be too much advantage to Dean Barker and his crew of Joe Allen, Tony Ray, James Dagg and Jeremy Scantlebury. They undertake the penalty now. And Gavin Brady has got to the front after all of that. So it's Brady up by the wall now. Well, these two young sailors are really slugging it out here. So Brady now is on port, coming right across the face of Dean Barker, who's on starboard.
Great pace here. Great guys.
So Barker now coming closer to the wall.
A little bit lighter out of this one.
So the breeze coming down the harbour up to 12, 14 knots.
Ready, guys?
Here's Brady and his crew working away along the wall. We can see the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron and the harbour bridge in the background. Brady in the windward position.
Ready, guys?
So here comes Brady. This is getting very close now. They've closed the game up. We're in for another tight exchange. Protest coming out of this. Blue flag against Brady. This is the third protest of the race. The first two have neutralised each other or nullified each other. So Brady is now carrying a penalty, but he's in front. Oh, something's going to give here again. Another exchange. Barker getting very aggressive. Something really has to give here. It's a second penalty against Brady. So Brady, now he's got 2 penalties, has got to undertake the second penalty immediately. Here he goes. So he's in front, but he's come back. Look at the top of the mast they've hit. Oh, Brady's going to be in huge trouble out of this. It's a black flag ruling. If it goes against him, it has. He's black flag disqualified.
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I come to New Zealand, I just get penalised again and again and again. Hopefully we can just keep it out of the hands of the umpires and have a yacht race. And if we do that, I think we can win it.
Race 4 and a last gasp for Gavin Brady.
Brady out to the right. Barker down to the left, down to leeward. Both of them desperate to try and get the pin end of the line. Barker looking good here as he's luffing up, trying to force Brady up over the line. Barker looking good in his quest to get out to the pin end of the line. Brady's got to tack off on port out towards the committee boat, right here on the pin, making sure he doesn't hit it, and Barker is clear. On starboard, out towards the breakwater. But at least he's got the favoured side. Now aboard Brady's boat as they are on port heading out to the right. Now here comes Brady to mix it up. Coming into the first cross, Brady with Morgan Trubovich, John Gunderson, Rodney Keenan and Brad Webb. Mixing it up here. But crossing on Port. Port, remember, has to give way, but Brady is going to get across. Brady, who's on starboard. So Barker in front of the first cross. The view from the umpire's helmet cam shows Barker with the advantage heading to the top mark for the first time. So Dean Barker's crew of Joe Allen, Tony Ray, James Dagg and Jeremy Scanterbury getting ready for the set. It's just a 4-second lead. Jeremy Scanterbury urging his crew on. So the pressure now comes from Gavin Brady as the trailing boat to try and shadow the wind that's going into the spinnaker of Dean Barker. Coming to the bottom mark to complete leg number 2. Down come the spinnakers. Joe Allen getting a lot of advice from the rest of his crew members aboard Dean Barker's boat. Well, there's not much in it, is there? Gavin Brady's close enough to attack. How would you like to be an umpire on the stern of Barker's boat?
Jump down if you have to. Oh, he hit us, he's hit us.
He's in the danger zone. Well, Barker's crew reckon that Brady's hit them. But the umpire aboard Barker's boat doesn't agree. How close can these sailors get? Brady trying to wriggle clear. Barker in his face. Trying to stay between his rival and his mark. What attacking duel we've got here. Brady comes back at him. Immediately, Barker defends. Coming to the top mark for the last time. Into the 4th and final leg under spinnaker. It's been a good beat to windward for Dean Barker and his crew of Team New Zealand members. They've extended it's out to 12 seconds. The semi-final slipping away from Brady. He must win this race to stay alive. And this crew is red hot as they close to the finish. Joe Allen and Jeremy Scanterbury on the foredeck. Doing a very good job for Dean Barker. Closing to the finish. And Dean Barker, in only his 3rd regatta as a helmsman in match racing, is through to the final of the Steinlager LINE7 against Russell Coots.
Oh, yeah, that's how we planned it right from the start. It's be good to race Russell in the final. I think it's great for Team New Zealand. It shows the depth and the we can put 2 crews together like this, and there's 2 others that are, really good on the day as well. So, it's going to be great racing tomorrow.
Of the Steinlager LINE7 International Match Racing Grand Prix. The young pretender Dean Barker takes on King Coots. Straight away, Barker's in trouble.
That sound indicating Dean Barker has not entered the starting area within the prescribed time. An unforced error, they will cop a penalty. Disaster for Barker.
How long to the boat? How long to the pin? 22, 21,
20 seconds to the start. Barker in the foreground. Coots in the weather. They're on the countdown to the start. So Barker is carrying a penalty into this race. But he has the favoured pin end of the line over towards the breakwater. Terrible conditions here for the final. Heavy rain, the current ebbing out. So it's Coots in the windward position, Barker down to leeward and ahead. As they work their way across on starboard towards the breakwater. So Russell Coots discussing with Warwick Fleury and Simon Dubney in front of him. They were going to tack and get out of there.
Okay, stand by. I'll give a hand. Big overhaul.
So Barker doing well, coming off the wall behind him. So Barker in front. Coots on port, moving out to the right. This is Tony Ray.
Keep it going fast.
I got a tack here.
So although they have a penalty to undertake, they can extend their advantage up the breakwater. They're out of the tide here. That's the key thing. That's why the fight to go left pays off. Mark 1. Dean Barker in front. Joe Allen on the bow, being urged on by Jeremy Scantlebury, his Team New Zealand mate from America's Cup 95. Many other challenges before that. Here goes Coots around the top mark, 26 seconds behind. That's a big gap to close up. They head off under Spinnaker to the leeward mark for the first time. Aboard Dean Barker's boat as the call for the penalty turn comes from Dean Barker. They're just out from the finish in very heavy rain. There's been a 40-degree wind shift and Barker has been able to move away from Coots. They're under no pressure whatsoever to complete the turn, come down to the finish and take the gun to go one up.
So in driving rain, Dean Barker deals to Coots to go one up, while the weather gets even worse for race 2.
Aboard Barker's boat.
10, 11, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Russell Coots to windward, Dean Barker to leeward. In the scramble for the pin end of the line and to get the favoured left-hand side again, Barker looks good. Aboard Coots' boat. So they're tacking off. The early advantage goes to Dean Barker. So coming off the breakwater for the first time, Barker coming back to cover. Short, sharp tacks here. Coots is behind, but they are trying to break through the cover. No one has been able to come from behind so far in this regatta. So Barker's called for water off the wall, and Coots is in front. Coots has been able to break through the cover. Dean Barker's face reflects intense concentration. This is Tony Ray.
3 legs.
Coming to the top mark to complete the first beat to windward. What a wonderful effort by Russell Coots to get past Dean Barker as they hoist their spinnaker into leg number 2. Well, experience is what you get right after you need it, and Dean Barker got plenty then as they round the top mark, 15 seconds behind Russell Coots.
Go, John. Go, John. Okay, that's you.
Back aboard Russell Coots' boat. Here's tactician Brad Butterworth, who did a magnificent job to get past Barker. Closing to the finish. And Russell Coots holding the gun position. Russell Coots wins race 2.
Coots a comfortable, if wet, winner, and it's one apiece. On to race 3.
Well, the rain has cleared at least. It's blowing 10 to 12 knots from the southwest. The tide's still ebbing. There's a real battle going on here for the fight for the penny end of the line. It's a replay of the previous race, but the roles reversed. Coots is down to leeward and ahead. And Barker is making life very difficult for Russell Coots in the fight for the penny end of the line. But still, Coots holds control. So it's Coots out to the right, down to leeward. Barker in the windward position. Coots down to Lewitt, out to the right, as they're getting closer to the pin end of the line in the foreground. And Coots is in the controlling position. They both desperately want this pin end to get across to the left-hand side of the course. Coming down to the start, right on the button. And there's the gun, and Coots has got where he wants to be. After being shut out in the previous race, boy, he came back very strongly. Barker's trying to ride over the top of Coots. Now Coots has got to wriggle hard here to get his bow out. Barker's in a very strong position here. Coots luffing up as they're getting close to the breakwater. And the early advantage went to Coots, but Barker has been able to ride over the top of Coots as Coots did in the previous race. An action replay, roles reversed. Now it's very slow and quiet from that. Now who can get out of this quickly? So Coots on starboard. They're coming out of this tack to try and get back at Barker. Barker on starboard has right of way. Coots in the foreground on port must give way. Coots is not going to make it, is he? No! Safe fluid. But Barker's been able to sail right over the top. He's right over the top of Coots. It's Coots out to the right, Barker to the left. What an effort by Barker. Because Coots had the advantage going away from the start, but not now. It's in tight manoeuvres like this that Coots really revels though. So Coots called for water coming off the wall. Barker down to leeward. Mark 1. Dean Barker in front.
I've got it knock. I've got it. Go, you're free.
It's the voice of Jeremy Scanterbury. He was aboard KZ7, NZL20 and NZL32 when New Zealand won the Cup. 14 seconds behind as they go into leg number 2 under Spinnaker. Closing to the finish, and Dean Barker has been able to hold off a hard-charging Russell Coots. A super effort. Dean Barker goes to match point. 2-1 over Russell Coots. One more win and he'll win the championship.
Barker back in front by 12 seconds, and the pressure's on Coots for race 4.
Russell Coots out to the left, sailing okie dokie. Dean Barker out to the right. It's a must-win for Coots. Jeremy Scanterbury telling Dean Barker they've got to kill time. They're out on the right.
I've got to kill some here.
Barker's ducking and weaving. Time on distance, trying to kill time. Coots the aggressive, trying to get him over the line.
6, 5, he's early. He's 10. Over.
That's the voice of Dean Phipps telling Russell Coots they're both over. Now Coots is tacking off. They're flopped across onto port, heading out towards the committee boat. Barker seems uncertain what to do, whether to tack away. He's not. Barker's losing a lot of distance here. He's jibing. That's costing him at least a couple of boat lengths. Well, Barker should have probably tacked across like Coots. But he's given the advantage to Coots, who's on port, and he'll come back. Here comes Coots to nail home the advantage. Barker jibed instead of tacking. So here comes Coots onto starboard, and from that manoeuvre, both over the line, Coots is in the windward position. So looking now from Barker's boat directly to windward, and Coots is a couple of boat lengths to windward, and he got that from the start. When he tacked across onto port, Barker jibed away. With the benefit of hindsight, he probably should have tacked. So it's Barker now onto port, moving up to the right. Coots has moved up the breakwater. So they've got the advantage where they want to be. They're in front, and they've also got the left-hand side of the course. Heavy rain again, terrible conditions here on finals day for Steinlager LINE7 97. Barker has made a gain though. Coots had the advantage coming away from the start box, but Barker is closing it up. Barker on match point, remember. If he wins this, he wins the regatta. And Barker has closed it up. They've shouted them on starboard. They're on right away. Safe lured by Coots.
We nearly hit the guy.
That's Joe Allen aboard Barker's boat. Joe Allen's in the umpire's face on the stern of the boat. He's not being moved by it. Joe Allen saying he nearly hit the guy. It's green flagged. Joe Allen won't be happy with that. Coots lives again. He's safe. He's still in front. Will Barker really close the game up? So here's Coots on the left. He's on port. He's got to give away. Can he cross over in front of Barker, who has right of way on starboard? Yes. So Coots is in front. He's made a gain of half a boat length from that exchange, and that was enough. What an exciting and enthralling beat to windward. And Dean Barker is still close enough to do the damage.
3 legs! 2 legs!
Closing to the top mark first time. Russell Coots in front. He needs to be to keep his regatta hopes alive. Good set from the Team Magic crew. Super stuff, delivering when they have to. Dean Barker around the top mark first time, 14 seconds behind.
Go! It's you!
Towards the end of leg number 4. And in the distance, Dean Barker a long way behind Russell Coots now. Life comfortable for Team Magic here as they close to the finish.
What's that? It's twice today.
All the time talking amongst themselves, analysing every leg of every race. Russell Coots wins. It's all tied up. It's down to the 5th and final race to decide the regatta.
Plenty of life in the old dog yet. Coots back in contention, 2-all, and it's on to the decider. Race 5.
Well, the strong ebb tide that's dominated proceedings earlier today is not going to be a factor for this race. Slack tide. So it's not going to be quite the stampede to the pin end of the line that we have seen in other races. It's Brad Butterworth, Russell Coots' tactician. So Coots, though, is going to the pin end of the line. He's on starboard, heading out to the left-hand side of the course. Meanwhile, Dean Barker, preferring to hold on to port, going to the committee boat end. Split tack start. James Dagg letting his skipper, Dean Barker, know it'd be wise to miss the anchor of the committee boat. So Barker heading out towards the centre of the harbour, but that's not going to be so critical because of the slack tide. Anyway, Barker prefers to come back onto starboard and keep it close and heads back towards Coots and the squad. And Coots is coming off the wall. He wants to mix it up as well. The early advantage going to Russell Coots at the pin end and coming off the wall. Russell Coots asking for weight out. So Coots coming in on port. He has to give way, remember. But he will cross comfortably in front of Dean Barker as we look from race cam and the helmet of the umpire on the stern of Dean Barker's boat. Dean Barker. His crew are trying to close the game up here in this 5th and final decider. But Russell Coots comfortably in front, still as they close to the top mark. Brad Butterworth out to the right. He's the tactician for Russell Coots. Doing a lot of talking as they get ready to round the top mark to complete leg 1 of 4. Dean Phipps on the bow. Russell Coots yelling out to his crew, it could be an early jump. So there's the hoist. Good set under pressure. Dean Barker around the top mark. 8 seconds behind, so he's in touch to do the damage. Barker and his crew have to try and shadow Coots and stop the airflow going down onto Coots' boat. In the closing stages of this 5th and final decider, Dean Barker out to the left, time running out for him, as Russell Coots and his crew charge down to the finish under Spinnaker. What a performance by Team Magic with Brad Butterworth, Dean Phipps, Simon Daubney and Warwick Fleury, the outstanding crew for Russell Coots, who wins the Steinlager LINE7 for 1997. And Russell Coots becomes the first skipper to win this event 4 times.
Yes, that match racing experience winning out in the end for Russell Coots, but what promise shown by Dean Barker, and it shows New Zealand yachting to be in good heart, with the top 3 places going to those who learnt about the sport on New Zealand waters. While we're talking about sports in which New Zealand is at or near the top, our netballers are away to England shortly. We chat with Silver Ferns, Teresa Tyree and Linda Wagner next. Stay with us.